Hi, the Aerialist chef today is all about French cooking. I like to cook with my show business family and friends, and today I'm so excited to have my Daredevil cousin Nik Wallenda joining me. Hey Nik.
Hey, how are you?
Great, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, thanks for having me on the show.
All right, well we're gonna get cooking. We're gonna start with coffee caramel creme. So let's get started. Okay, Nik, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put some sugar and water over a medium-high flame, and we're going to caramelize the sugar. Now that's going to take about 10 to 11 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on so the steam will wash down the sugar crystals. Or you can use a pastry brush dipped in water and wash it. It does the same thing. So we'll let that cook for about 12 minutes. Okay, our sugar is caramelizing back there. It's boiling away where we want a nice amber color. So Nik is going to go ahead and start the yolks and the sugar part. You put those together in the bowl, and you're going to use a whisk just to stir it. You don't want to incorporate air because we don't want fluffy, grainy custards. We want it nice and smooth. Now, Nik, the night before I took some espresso beans and I just kind of bashed them up and I infused them in the cream over scalding cream. And then I just let them sit for like an hour and I strained out the beans. So that's where the coffee part comes from. Okay. So these are legitimate French dark roast beans. They're delicious.
They smell delicious.
All right, so you see Nik is doing a good job there. Get all that sugar, and we're just kind of dissolving the sugar in the yolks. Now, anytime you do yolks and sugar, you never want to put the sugar in too early because it actually will cook the yolks.
Wow.
And that'll make your custard not nice and smooth and creamy. It'll be kind of grainy. So sometimes when you go out to eat at a restaurant and you taste a grainy creme brulee, that's probably why. All right, let me check our, oh yeah, it's almost there. You see how that's getting that nice color on it? So you just want to swirl the pan, and I'm looking for that color there.
Smells good.
And as soon as that color gets dark enough, I'm going to immediately pour the cream in, and that's when, Nik, no matter how fearless you are, you'll want to stand back because it's super, super hot. You don't walk away at this point either.
I don't want to burn my hair.
No, I mean, you can't walk the dog, you can't answer the phone, you can't sign autographs in your book, you can't do that. You got to stay focused. See how that's nice and dark now? Yep. All right, so I'm going to pull it off the heat. And we're going to stand back and I'm going to pour in, this is just regular cream. You see how that bubbles up?
Wow.
The important thing is to never panic. Go ahead and rinse that off, and we're going to stir this. That's it. You can stir that. Now some of the sugar is going to solidify because of the shock. You really are shocking it. So we're going to take that, go ahead and take that back over the heat.
Okay.
And you just want to stir it to smooth it out. It's kind of like a caramel. That's basically what we've made as a caramel by adding the fat in the cream and that sugar. It's now a caramel. So Nik is going to stir it.
Should I be scraping everything off the bottom?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Then I'll go ahead and add the rest of this. And you keep stirring. You'll see it'll smooth out. And then our coffee infused cream. This is where all the flavor is. It's a beautiful combination of caramel and coffee. Probably my two favorite flavors.
Is it the same? I don't want to whisk it too fast to get air in it, or?
No, you're doing just fine. Is it kind of smooth now? Even if there's a few bits, okay? Bring that back over here. We're done with the stove. And now we're going to do what we call tempering the yolks. So this is the tricky part. You don't want to scramble your eggs because scrambled egg brulee is not cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly whisk this, and I'm going to just put just a little bit. And the French call this liaison, which means you're bringing the two different temperatures equal.
Okay.
Nik, you know all about equilibrium.
A little bit.
So Nik, tell us about your Big Apple Circus. How did you end up with a Big Apple Circus?
That's a long story for sure.
Okay, well, give us the truncated version.
Yeah, it is certainly a cool story. My entire life, I love the Big Apple Circus.
Right.
In America.
Everybody does,
correct.
right?
As far as circuses in America, it's Big Apple and Ringling were the circus.
That's it,
of course.
yeah.
And never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would be an owner of one of the biggest shows in America. But
So cool.
my life has been a story of blessing after blessing after blessing after dream
Right.
come true.
Well,
And,
you've worked for it. It's not like it just dropped in your lap, so.
Well, I think, look, hard work definitely pays off.
It does.
It is certainly very exciting to be part of an incredible company like Big Apple, and hopefully we can bring it back to life. You know,
Yeah, well, I think
struggles.
you're well on your way because you got great reviews their first season, and so many people are talking about it, and everybody's looking forward to the next season, which starts when?
We'll actually start this winter in Manhattan, in New York City again, which is, of course, the home, hence the name, the Big Apple Circus. And eventually our plan is to tour, not just in the United States, but worldwide. We plan on
wow.
taking it across the globe and into Europe, hopefully as soon as next year.
Oh my gosh, well, you'll probably need a chef, to
Definitely
cook.
will need a chef.
Okay, anyway.
And an aerialist, and a choreographer.
Well, I don't do the aerial part, but I'll do the choreography and the cooking.
And somebody to help put the tent up and down.
Hey, I'll do that too, whatever it takes. All right, so normally I would have a little spout, but I'm gonna carefully pour this. Now you see those bubbles, Nick?
Yep.
We don't want those in our creme brulee, so I'm gonna show you a quick trick. I mean, it's not the end of the world if they're there. They don't affect the taste or really the texture. It's more of a visual thing.
Okay.
But food is about visual, so, well, you get the idea. Okay, we don't wanna waste any of that coffee caramel goodness. You like coffee, Nick? Are you a coffee drinker?
I'm not a coffee drinker, but I love coffee and
Flavor,
desserts.
yeah. So I'm going to take my torch, oh, there it is. My cooking show, I don't know where to put things. All right, not everybody has one of these, but you can buy these actually at just about any Asian
Believe
market.
it or not, I actually have one.
You have one of these? Oh my God, of course you do.
Oh, look at that, the bubbles go away.
And voila, perfect.
Wow.
And then we're gonna bake them in a bain-marie. You know what that is?
No.
That is a water bath. So I happen to have a gazillion cake pans, obviously, because I make cakes, but any kind of cake pan that has sides that are at least as high as the creme brulee dishes. And we're gonna set them carefully in here. And then you wanna put hot water. They say boiling, but you don't. You can do hot tap water. Just make sure that the water does not splash into your creme brulees, because obviously you would ruin them. I usually will smooch them up front and then pour the water here. And you want that water to come up about halfway up to about here. And then you're gonna bake it in a 325 oven, about 50 to 60 minutes, depending on your oven. Mine took 50.
Okay.
And what you wanna do is when you shake that, when they're cooked, the outer side will be cooked and the center will still have a little bit, I always call it like Santa's belly
Sure.
jiggle. That's
Or
what you're looking
my
for.
belly.
No, my belly. Right here in the middle, and that's it. Don't wait until it's completely solid. It's still edible, but it won't be as nice and luscious and creamy. That's it. All right, so we're gonna stick these in the oven. All right, Nik and I are gonna start the chicken crepes that we're making today. They're gonna be chicken mushroom crepes with a bechamel sauce. Now, traditionally, you would do a velouté sauce or even a mornay sauce, but I don't care, it's my show and I'm doing bechamel. So Nick's gonna go ahead and get started. Nick's gonna get started and show off his knife skills. You think this guy just walks wire? I don't think so. Speaking of that, Nik is actually a master carpenter. Look at this gorgeous kitchen. He puts the flooring, I mean, he can do a million things. This is a side of Nik Wallenda I don't think a lot of people see very often.
Probably not.
Well, that's what's cool about it. Well, look at that.
So
Nick, I'm very
these
impressed.
are green onions, right?
Yes.
And is a chive the same thing?
A chive?
Yeah.
Well, in the
What's
same
the
family. They're in the allium family, but it's different.
Okay.
You get the same flavor. Chive is probably a little bit more mellow.
Okay.
You can also use leeks, which is traditionally French use leeks.
Sure.
But it's all in the same family and they're acceptable. Then you're gonna go ahead and slice the mushrooms thinly.
Okay.
I've already roasted 2 chicken breasts in the oven last night and shredded them. It's a lot easier when you pre-prep a lot of things if you're gonna have a party. This is a great dish to make because you can get almost everything prepped the day before. I've even made the crepes, and yes, that's how you pronounce them. It's crêpe, rhymes with yep,
So not crepe.
crepe. No. And technically, the French call a savory crepe is actually a galette. Go figure.
Galette.
Very nice knife work. I'm so impressed. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start heating a pan up over here with just a little bit of olive oil because we are going to cook our mushrooms first. Okay, we have the mushrooms and the onions in the pan with some good olive oil, and we're gonna saute those. Now, you don't wanna put salt right now because I want to let all the moisture out of the mushrooms so that they get crispy. If I put salt, they're gonna release all their moisture and then they're gonna be kind of slimy, and I don't want that. I want crispy mushrooms. So we'll let those cook and we will leave them alone and then we'll turn them.
The way I learned how to toss vegetables and stuff in a frying pan was with the end of a loaf of bread. And I would take the end of the loaf of bread and lay it on its back and learn to flip that over carefully. And that's how I learned.
That's brilliant.
And then I learned how to flip eggs over the same way without breaking them. And
that's amazing. How are they looking, Nick? Are they getting there?
Looking good. Starting to get a little bit crispy like you said you wanted them to be.
Yeah, as soon as they're there, we're gonna add that garlic.
Almost ready for some garlic?
Yep, go ahead, throw it in there. You put as much or as little as you want. I like a lot of garlic.
I was gonna say, don't say that to me.
Okay, just dump it all in there. That's, that's it, perfect. Now, the thing with garlic is, if you overcook garlic, it gets bitter.
Yes.
So that's why we're adding it at the end, and we're just gonna toss it so that it's heated through and just starts to color, and then we're gonna stop.
And do you constantly toss it or let it set for a second?
No, I let it set a little bit because it actually is gonna get a nice crisp thing. If I keep tossing it, it's never gonna really sear, yeah. That looks good. You want to add just a splash of wine. Move your pan. That's perfect. Now we're just going to let that cook off. Go ahead and add your seasoning now, a little salt and pepper. This is a perfect time. Perfect. That's it. That's what I love about a gas stove is you can shake the pan, you get on a glass top and you're like, oh, don't scratch it.
Yeah, they're made to abuse.
All right, that looks good. Perfect job. We'll turn off the heat and we'll get starting with building our crepes. Okay, Nick, now we're gonna make the bechamel sauce.
What is bechamel?
Oh, well, bechamel is one of the mother sauces, and so you can do a lot of different ones. I was telling you at the top. Traditionally, velouté is what you would make, and that you would use stock for it. But I don't want to do that. I wanted to do a nice bechamel sauce, which is going to be cream, and I'm going to add cheese to it. It's going to be...
I like bechamel.
Let's make the bechamel. All right, Nick, to start the bechamel, go ahead and put the butter in the pan. It's on medium-high heat, and we're going to let that melt. Now, a bechamel is really just a gravy. Think of it as a gravy. We're going to make a roux, which is we're going to melt the butter. This is unsalted butter. I like unsalted butter because then I can control how much salt is in it. And then as soon as that butter is somewhat melted, we'll go ahead and throw in our bechamel, we're going to add a little bit of garlic. We just want a hint of flavor.
You want all of this in there?
Yeah, all of it.
And is this looks like it's almost minced.
Yes, that's a very minced one because it's a gravy, and I don't want you to have chunks of garlic.
Sure.
Well, that's not such a bad thing, isn't it?
Nah,
not really, right?
Like I do.
And we're going to do what we call sweat the garlic, which means we don't really want color on it. We just want to loosen it up a little bit.
Okay, separate it.
And your butter is just almost there. And then you're going to throw your flour. Now, the important thing about that is you want to cook the flour.
Okay.
That's why it's going to take 2 to 3 minutes, and it'll get all thick and pasty on you. That's what we're looking for. Go ahead and throw that in there.
Okay.
The reason why you don't eat raw cookie dough is not because of the eggs, really. It's actually the raw flour.
Really?
Raw flour can be very dangerous. It can have bacteria in it, so that's why we cook it.
Wow.
So if you want to make a cookie dough that you want to eat, that's fine, but take your flour, spread it out on a cookie sheet and bake it.
Wow.
Just for a little bit, and that will kill that off, and then you can eat all the cookie dough you want.
All right, I'm going to start baking flour tonight. I don't think my wife will let me eat all the cookie dough I want, though.
No?
Unfortunately.
Well, she doesn't need to know. I won't tell her. Now, if we were making like a Louisiana style thing, and you want, that's when you say they use brick, that you would take this to be really dark. So it would take like 20 minutes. But we're not there. We want a nice white sauce. So we're just cooking it enough that, like I said, you're going to cook that flour flavor out.
Yep.
And then we're going to go ahead and add our milk to it.
How often should you stir that while it's...
It's fine. You can keep whisking a little bit because you don't want, it will get clumpy on you.
Yes.
The thing that people get intimidated by gravy is they're always worried about lumps.
That's right.
But as long as you take it slow, you know, don't put it on high and just throw everything in there and walk away. That's when you get lumps. And then we'll go ahead. This is Worcestershire sauce and a little bit of bouillon.
Okay.
Now that's not vegetarian because it has anchovies, but I'm going to go ahead and let it go and not worry about it.
Ooh, that's cooking down quick now.
That, and you can go ahead and pour in your milk. And you want to whisk. Now, a lot of times they'll tell you to heat your milk up or your stock if you're adding it, but as long as it's room temperature, you really won't have problems with it. And if worse comes to worse and you would get lumps, don't throw it out. Just get a fine mesh sieve and just sieve it.
Okay.
And all those lumps will be left behind. There. And we'll put a little bit of pepper. I always fresh grind my pepper, and then I make a big thing of it. I don't like already ground pepper. It has no flavor. Now you'll go ahead and give that a little bit of a taste.
A little bit of a taste with a spoon?
Yes. You see it's starting to thicken?
Yep.
Now if it's too salty, you could add more cream. If it's not salty enough, you add more salt.
I think it's perfect, but I like salt.
So do I. Okay, so that's it. We're gonna cut the heat, and then we're gonna add a handful. Go ahead and whisk that.
Yep.
And add a handful of this cheese. I've got Gruyere, some Asiago and Parmesan. I think that's good because I don't want it too thick. I mean, we want a little bit of a gravy.
Sure.
We might add a little milk to that. That's beautiful. And then we'll just leave that because that's going to go on top of our crepes. So let's go roll some crepes. All right, Nik, our bechamel is ready. You did a great job. So you're going to add a little bit to your chicken, mushroom, onion mixture, just a little bit to moisten it up, and maybe one more spoonful. That's perfect. Mix it up, and we're going to start rolling the crepes. Let me get that out of your way.
It's hot, be careful.
Yes, that is hot. Yeah, that's perfect. You just want to moisten it.
Okay.
All right, and then you're going to take your crepes and start rolling. Now I have my own little vegetarian version, and I like my hands. I said, God gave us hands, let's use them.
How much do we want?
Just a little, that's probably good. Now there's two ways to roll a crepe. There's the enchilada way where you pull in the ends and you do that, but I don't do that actually because it's not necessary actually. You just tuck in towards you, pull it towards you and just roll it, and that's it. That's really what a crepe should look like, okay?
Sounds
now
good.
you keep rolling.
You know, one thing I learned cooking at a restaurant when I was younger is you want to taste of everything in each bite.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And also when you're cooking, you want to season as you go. Like don't wait until the very end and go, oh shoot, maybe I should have put some pepper or salt in that.
Yeah.
You know? All right, now we know mine's going to be over here. So you keep your meaty ones away from
You got it.
mine.
I'll keep them away.
I'm so glad that people get to see a side of Nik Wallenda that they probably never thought of. Like, I didn't even know he was such a great cook or had such great knife skills. So we're actually starting a new show now, the Nik and Mara show, every day.
Let's do it. Kind of sounds like the Rick and Morty show, the Nik and Mara show.
Well, that'd be appropriate too. That's it, and then we're gonna put
right in.
Right. That's it, and then we just put sauce, and then we bake them at a 350 oven. Now everything's cooked, so we're not putting this in forever. That's why it's so nice to prep all this the day before. You can even make the filling the day before, you know, like we did.
Yep.
Put it in the fridge, and then the day of your party, you just have it ready to go up to here, and put your sauce on. Bechamel, though, is you should make the day of.
And how much bechamel, how much sauce do you put on there?
I'm just going to put a little bit now, and we'll put a little paprika on top and some cheese and bake it. And then when it comes out, if we think it looks like we might need more, we'll put more. So let's go ahead. Let me get you that very hot pan. Then go ahead and spoon some on there. And I will get the paprika.
You want it drizzled, or you want a layer, or what are you looking for?
What do you want? How much would you like on your slice? There you go.
That's the wrong person. I like gravy and I like sauce.
Who doesn't? I don't trust you if you don't like gravy and sauce. If you have leftover bechamel, make biscuits and sausage the next day, biscuits and gravy, and just a little bit of paprika. Paprika is a spice that you really should cook. Don't serve it raw. I know people love to put it on deviled eggs.
Yep.
I mean, I've been guilty about doing that, but technically you should cook it first.
Really?
Yeah,
Why is that?
I don't know. It's just one of those rules.
Okay.
That nobody ever tells you why.
I like it.
But you're supposed to follow them, and you know, so I don't, because I never follow
Sure.
rules.
Well, it's interesting you said, because whenever I make deviled eggs, I put paprika on it.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, there we go. So we'll stick that in the oven, 10, 15 minutes. We're good to go. We'll go with our Haricot Vert next.
Sounds good.
Okay, Nik is going to make the Haricot Vert, which is a traditional French green bean. These are pre-blanched just for a couple minutes in boiling salted water. Then I shock them in ice water to stop the cooking. And I've made brown butter. I love the taste of it. You'll notice it has like a really nutty taste.
Yep.
And it also has a higher smoke point, so it's less likely to burn. And you can, I like to use tongs.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you if you had
Yeah. And just toss those around. Now these have been cooked and salted. When you blanch vegetables, you always add salt just like pasta.
Yep.
It should taste like the sea. So a healthy handful. And we're just heating them through because I don't really want them to cook anymore.
Okay.
And then you can add your seasoning.
A little bit of
You can be really liberal with that. And then
liberal, you said?
Yeah, that's perfect. Toss that around, and then when you're ready, at the end, you'll add your toasted, slivered almonds. If you don't like almonds, you can leave them out, or you can add a different nut. Pine nuts are really nice, but this is a typical French way of doing it. Aren't those beautiful?
They are.
And then you can taste it for seasoning.
And they're hot. Doesn't take long.
No, it doesn't take long. And then when you feel it's ready, you throw your, a little salt. You throw your toasted almonds, and that's it.
How many almonds?
However many you want. And you can even put a splash of fresh lemon juice sometimes if you want. That's a nice addition. Just, you make it your own dish, just like anything. And it looks pretty too.
It does. It's all about the presentation.
No, it's all about the eating. Oh, that's perfect. That's good. So a lot of these things, as you notice, can be made the day ahead. You can toast your almonds the day ahead. You can blanch your green beans the day. You can make brown butter the day ahead.
Yep.
If you're not sure how to make brown butter, I do have an episode where I brown the butter and I explain it in depth. So they can go back on my YouTube channel. Just make sure you go to the Aerialist Chef on YouTube and you'll find all that information. Or you can find it at the new Nik and Mara cooking show.
Right. All right.
All right, that's it. You turn that off and we'll wait, and then we're going to plate it all together. Our crepes are in the oven cooking. They're almost done. We have our Haricot Vert completely done. Nik is gonna make some garnish because he's so awesome with the knife. And I'm gonna start a simple French bistro salad is actually what it is. And I just layer a few things in my plate. I have some beautiful shaved rainbow carrots. You can do radishes. What you wanna do is you wanna make the colors pop. So that's why you see I have these beautiful rainbow carrots. I just love the way they look. I shave them with a vegetable peeler. If you have a mandolin, a lot of people are afraid of mandolins and they are sharp and you can get hurt. But if you want to use that, that's fine. And I'm going to add just some fresh herbs. I have mint and I'm going to tear it by hand. Now I could cut it, but it actually bruises the leaves and it makes it a little bit bitter. That's why for basil or mint, if I can, I'll tear it. And then it's whatever you like. If you don't like mint, you'll leave it out. Typical French would be a little bit of tarragon, which I absolutely love. Like green goddess dressing, you gotta have tarragon.
I love mint.
I do too, a lot of people don't. But you grow it in a garden, it takes over the whole garden. I'm thinking, what's wrong with that?
It's like negative thoughts in your mind.
Now see, I even like parsley in my salad. Like when I make tabbouleh, I do a Palestinian version, which is really, because tabbouleh is traditionally a parsley salad.
Okay.
But people are used to the more Israeli with more of the bulgur in it, which I like too. So that, and I'll add a few more of these, however you want it to look. And then these beautiful heirloom, cherry tomatoes, aren't they beautiful? And
They are, so much color.
Yeah, that's what you want to eat with your eyes, so you want to make it look inviting. Get back here. Now I've pre-made the dressing and I've got really good olive oil. And Nik was asking me what is really good olive oil. And it's not just by cost, obviously, it's what you like. There's Spain, there's Greece, and Italy make great olive oil. So they're all delicious. But if you're gonna cook, don't waste your money on good olive oil because it's going to ruin it. The olive oil is really not made for sauteing with. Grapeseed oil is better. But if I'm gonna eat it raw, like in a dressing, then I want the good stuff. Then it's what you like, taste it. If you like it, then it's gonna be good in your salad. This has Dijon mustard, some honey for sweetener, because you wanna balance the acid and the sweet and the salt. That's the balance that you constantly wanna have in almost all your food. So I had a chef that would always tell me, you like everything sweet. And no, I like a balance of flavors, and that requires me to add a little bit of sweetness. Because I don't like really vinegary, I don't know about you, but if it's too vinegar and acidic, I don't like that. I like that balance of sweetness in there. So I just made a very simple one. All the recipes always are down below. Everything we've made today will be down below, so people can always get the recipe.
Recipe down below.
Down below, absolutely. Subscribe to my channel so you can see more and more of Nik, because then I'll, have to pay him to come. All right, I think that looks good. Let's start putting it all together.
Great.
All right, Nik, all our wonderful goodies are out, so let's go ahead and put them on our plate and taste them.
Sounds good. Let's do it. And we just got to remember which ones are yours.
Mine are those two.
See if I can get them out for you here.
I make Nik do the hard part.
Without destroying them is the question.
That's okay, we're gonna eat
My
them.
hands are clean. We're family.
We're family.
Give me a second.
I was gonna say, you get yourself a better one than that. Now, if you want more bechamel, you can put a little bit more bechamel on it. You can put more cheese, whatever you want. And then we have our beautiful Haricot Vert. Look at that, those are absolutely gorgeous. And then we made our salad with the lemon Dijon vinaigrette. Now, let's give it a taste, Nik, and see what you think.
Need some more bechamel. Told you, I love my gravy.
Well, this is nice because you can eat it as a vegetarian or a meat eater.
It's perfect for my family because my wife's a vegetarian too.
I know, that's delicious. That is really good. You did a great job. I made him do all the hard stuff.
Had a good coach.
Now you can get me on the wire. Huh, good luck with that.
Let's cook on the wire.
No, just don't. Did you taste the green beans?
Really good.
Aren't those good?
Really good.
And then a little bit of salad, which you can never eat neatly. That's not possible. Refreshing. You can add whatever herbs you want. What you don't want, you can leave out. It's just a simple salad.
So much flavor in that.
It is, but French cooking is kind of simple. You know, it's complex like the sauce. But if you look at it, look at the beans. It's pretty simple. Brown butter, beans, toasted almonds. That's pretty simple. Throw beautiful fresh herbs, call it a day. All right, well, now we gotta finish our dessert and that'll be a wrap. Time for dessert, Nik, my favorite part. So I asked Nik, what do you want? Do you want the coffee caramel flan or do you want the chocolate raspberry flan? And so he texts me back and says, yes. I said, Nik, that's not helpful. And he said, well, let's just do both. So I said, don't think I won't. So of course I did. Now, the key to making creme brulee is how you put the sugar on it, all right? Now I'm gonna move that because I'm gonna show you. You wanna put your sugar, and you can use white sugar, you can use raw sugar, turbinado, it doesn't matter. White is easier. But you wanna sprinkle it lightly and you wanna actually sprinkle over the edge. See how I'm making a mess?
Yep.
That's the correct way.
I'm good at making messes.
Me too. It's my specialty. And I'm gonna do a fairly even layer, and I can see where it needs to go. But you don't want too much, because what will happen is the top will crystallize or caramelize and the bottom will still be raw. And it just doesn't taste as good. Okay, so that's about how you want it. Same thing with this one. Now this recipe actually is a no bake recipe. A lot of people are afraid to make creme brulee because they're like, oh, the water bath thing scares me. It takes so long. Well, this recipe is still the same thing. It's a custard with egg yolks and cream, but the custard is cooked on the stovetop.
Oh, okay.
And it's really simple. I will put all the directions that you need down below so you can make this one too. So this one was baked in the oven. This one was cooked on the cooktop. They're both custard, same thing.
Find some good raspberries to dress.
Yeah. One thing I will say though is make sure, no matter which method you use, that you pour the finish through like a fine mesh sieve.
Okay.
And if there's any eggshell or coagulated eggs that didn't quite cook through or doesn't look good, you can get rid of it. It'll strain it out. That's perfect. No, I gotta burn them first.
Oh, you do, don't you?
Nick's so excited to
one
eat.
step.
Look
I
at
was,
him.
I was ready to dive in.
He can't even wait. That's how pathetic he is. All right, so
While you do that, I'll do this.
I have my fancy dandy. You can buy some of these at the store. And you want to put it over the top about 4 inches away, and you just want to do a sweeping motion. Now this one is more powerful than those little butane ones, so those you might get a little bit closer. And I don't like burned sugar. I like a nice caramelized one that has a deep brown to it. Some people like burn. Some people burn it and don't know any better and think that's the way it's supposed to be, but it's not really supposed to be black.
Now I can put some raspberries on.
Yes,
right?
sir, you can. Make sure you don't do this around little kids or animals. I mean the four-legged kind. Creme brulee is a dessert that is actually so simple to make. There's so few ingredients. You see how we made it. And yet it's really elegant. It's a beautiful dessert when you have company. So I made some chocolate covered espresso beans that you can put for, obviously for the chocolate one. And then I love these edible flowers. You can buy these sometimes like Whole Foods, any kind of market, and just make it look pretty. Yellow looks good with that. More importantly, we need spoons so we can.
We do, don't we?
Yes, we do. Well, or we can make a fool of ourselves and just eat it with our hands.
I'm good either way.
Me too. And then to make it pretty, you would present it like that. All right. Spoons up. Now, if you let that set a little longer, because Nik and I can't wait, the sugar will sit up a little more. But don't do it too far ahead, because the humidity will make it soft again.
That's good.
Okay, that's good. Oh. You taste the caramel and the coffee. That's really good.
Just
All
the
right.
right amount.
What about the chocolate raspberry? Good too. I like the coffee one better.
So do I. But I'm gonna try it again just to make sure.
Yeah, me too. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think I like this one.
Yeah?
Coffee.
You think so?
No, maybe not. Maybe I do
I
like
don't
this
know,
one
let's
better.
see. I have more in the fridge. Keep trying.
I will. I plan on it. That's good.
Well, I can't thank you enough. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
We've been trying to do this for a year.
I know.
And
Schedule's crazy.
We finally got to it, and I can't be happier. I hope you learned something.
I did. I learned a lot.
Well, so did I. I learned that you can cook and use knife skills, and you're amazing, and we should definitely do a cooking show.
Let's do it.
All right. You can catch Nik Wallenda at the Big Apple Circus starting this winter. So I suggest you buy your plane ticket right now. I know I'm going to. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. You ready for me?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Nick?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Today's show is all about French cooking. And I have a very special guest, my cousin.